Hola, konnichiwa, wassalamu alaikum, Islam, salam, salam, shalom, should I say, uh, kasaho, neho, uh, bonjour. What's up and what's happening? Excuse my voice is still kind of hoarse from a couple days ago. Um, and as you know, I'm setting up. So I got a few things that, um, where's my pen? I got a few things that was on my mind this morning. Been on my mind for a couple days, and I just wanted to come out and holler at you guys for a minute, uh, and let's just have a conversation about some of the ongoing events and them lights be in my eyes. So, but let's talk about some of the ongoing events in just a second. I'll do a couple things here before we get started. Make sure you visit us at www.brotheril.com. Subscribe, be a part of that movement. Go over to WIC TV Network on rumble.com and subscribe. Also, I need you to subscribe to WIC TV on YouTube. Okay, so go over there and subscribe. That way, when we do um, our podcast or our messages or um, classes, master classes, etc., that you will get the notification and have firsthand access to any information that you deem is worthy of your ears and optimal in the ability to be able to use it um, to your benefit. So let me go on here and unlock Facebook account. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's going on to the world? I see you guys out there. Been an already awesome week. We had our, and before we just dive into the political spectrum, I want to give some recognitions and honors to my son Prince Ravanna Miles Ill the second, who had his uh, debut game against UD Cubs, where he took a the UD Cubs came out. They didn't come out like some Cubs. They came out like some Bears, some Grizzly Bears, and they got a hold to us and didn't let us go. A great, talented team at UD. Their veteranship, most of those guys are seniors, and they did what veterans do, right? Like we're not gonna beat ourselves, number one, and if you make mistakes, we're gonna make you pay for that, and we're gonna put pressure on you and see how you respond. And they did that. They read it well. Shouts out to the coach over there, legendary coach, Coach Don Nelly. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Um, fierce competitor as a coach. We got some fierce competitors as ball players, and I like what I see. And I know they see my post where I say we wanted it. We wanted it tough. We wanted it challenging. We wanted it challenging, and we got it. And so shake the nervousness off, shake all of that stuff off, and welcome to high school sports. Prince's story is unique, but it's not different than any other young man or young woman persevering to reach their goals and having to go through the different adversities that life presents to us all, right? And so he fought through pandemic just as well as all of us fought through some hardships, some other I would say unusual events, right? Um, and he was able to maintain plus 3.0 on the honor roll all the way through, and some opportunities was taken away from him momentarily. A lot of sabotaging, because if you don't know, I didn't know either until I entered into high school and seeing how evil people can be if they're able to get what they want out of you if you're not compliant. And first thing they try to do is create a negative narrative. Um, And fortunately, we've done so much good work in our community that it doesn't work. It's like we have this shield around us that if you cast an evil eye, you're going to cast that evil eye on yourself. And so, having our strong faith and fruition in our religion and Allah and all and our principles, our guiding principles, that conviction kept us headstrong, kept us focused, straight ahead, and gave us the ability to see even when there's no light, right? So it looks like there's the opportunity is gone. It looks like this, it looks like that. And man, the amazement, the strength of the Almighty, when you trust in the Almighty, um, good things will happen. Good things will happen. You just can't lose the faith, right? You can't lose. You can't like switch teams when things get tough. You can't, you know, go into your shell. I'm Cancer, so we can go into our shells. I think that's an appropriate analogy for, especially coming from me, not wanting to expose our vulnerability, and I think that's what we've been able to do. Um, not only accepting our vulnerabilities, but also appreciating, sharing how vulnerable we are or could be, and being comfortable in that position, in that capacity of expressing that vulnerability. It allows us not to um, have to go through what we're going through alone. It allows us other opportunities, support, and just um, being able to receive encouragement and confront the vulnerabilities and put together strategies that allows you to overcome those vulnerabilities, and then sharing that with others that going to have especially those that are ambitious, have goals, personal goals, business goals, inspire to be great. And you should aspire um, to be your greatest, the greatest version of yourself. So I'm just grateful um, and thankful, right? I'm very thankful, and I live a life of gratitude because of the things I've been exposed to. Traveled a lot from 2011 to 2019. So what is that? About an 8 year period. Um, and I've had a chance to see the country. I haven't had a chance to see the world, but through the interactions and networks of the peoples of the world that comes from all over the world into this country, and we have an opportunity to embrace each other and build with each other and share each other's cultures. I get to see the world through their eyes, and I'm excited about actually getting out, going to see the world, the rest of the world. I'm inspired by that. I think it's time. We just actually got an offer to go. Um, a few weeks back, got an offer to go play in Paris. Lil Prince got an offer to go play in Paris. He's been selected to go play in Paris and Spain. They're going on like a little world tour. So exciting. However, when you look at today's climate, I think we're going to roll right into the politics now. But when you look at today's climate, you got missiles flying all over the place. You got what is called IBCMs or ICBMs, was intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic with hypersonic capacity, meaning that it can't be stopped. It's moving at the lightest speed, and it has when I believe, as it's reported, when it's in ICBM, it has um, the the capacity to hit anybody anywhere. Russia has revealed um, some of its true capacities, right? When the Biden regime, the Biden Harris regime authorized the use of long range U.S. built missiles to strike deep into Russia. Um, that generated a Russian response in such a way. that it probably was the greatest warning. From what I'm hearing, it's the greatest warning of all times. That Russia has a capacity, a technological capacity that no one in the world has yet, right? And it's kind of funny because I can tell that when you got something going on, you're really not looking to share that with the world, really, because you got so many agents. And you can imagine how many agents, anti-Russian agents, that they have that exist, and for all powerful countries or just countries in general, right? And so we're not quick to, I say we, like people that got something going on, regardless if it's the Russians, the Russian president, myself, or you, and we're not so quick to avail that to the public because of the agencies, right? And we want to protect our intellectual property, our inventions. We want to protect our interests. So we want to secure that. So we're not so quick to avail um, certain aspects of what we got going on to the public at large. But Russia was forced in this regards, from my angle and how it's being reported. Um, you know, we went from a defensive position where we're going to help Ukraine defend its freedoms, defend its democracy against Russia aggression. And we started there and we ended up to, well, Ukraine is one of the biggest corrupt countries in the world. It's a platform for political corruption. Um, and then they went into martial law. So its own citizens have been deprived of their right to vote. So the whole we're protecting the Ukrainian democracy is it's a gaslighting attempt that's been exposed. We found biolabs, U.S. funded biolabs in Ukraine. Imagine Ukraine is on Russia's border. So the full detail of the story from not only global officials but national officials that specialize in this particular area has been confirmed that we didn't have put ourselves in a position that we should have never been in. And I kind of thought about it this morning when I was going over some information, some material, and I was saying, wow, I think the whole world changed when Donald Trump called or was on the call with the Ukrainian, newly elected Ukrainian president a few years ago. And one of the things that was mentioned was, you know, for um, the Ukrainian administration to, find corruptions on the Biden if there was corruption. Two, um, and the talks of potentially withholding the congressional aid to the Ukrainians because it's been reported that these guys are involved into corruption. So why would we be sending U.S. taxpayer dollars to a corrupt nation, right? And you're like, well, the U.S. is corrupt. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we had a new president that came in with a new agenda to clean up house, to rid the presidency of corruption, to rid the U.S. government and its agencies of corruption. It's what they call the deep state. And it's really, in short, is a global human trafficking, money laundering operation. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. Um, so now everybody is in danger. The world is in danger because of these efforts from the Biden Harris regime. And it's thank thank goodness for the true patriots that showed up November the 5th because we literally helped stop the world, slowed the world down from being destroyed by nuclear war. That's what happened on November the 5th. And it's unfortunate if the rest of the, I guess, 70 million people that voted for to continue the Biden Harris regime, it's unfortunate if you guys don't see that, right? So you got people that have in the area of war tools. They have a greater advantage over us. And the decency of not trying to impose that will against the United States, but instead simply looking to defend its freedoms via its alleged special military operation. And once you go and do your research, and I know it's hard when you're so distracted all the time in the USA that people really don't have time to do their research. And I kind of like disagree with that because I look at your screen time. I'm pretty sure you can carve out 15, 20 minutes to get familiarized with the foreign affairs and our position and counter positions and how does it impact and affects you as an individual or your family because you're paying for the wars, you're paying for the genocide, we are paying for this. It's U.S. tax dollars that's funding this operation, excuse me, that's funding this operation and outfit. And so that's kind of a notion where people say it doesn't concern me, where you're funding it, right? And so you have blood on your hands as well. You're not directly pulling the trigger, but you're directly funding the triggers being pulled. You're paying for the missiles. You're paying for the factories that develop it. You're paying for the workforce. You're paying for the supplies. You're paying for every part of every part, and it's coming from the U.S. tax dollars, right? So we that's important to be in a position to know what's going on because you have a right to demand an account. You got a right to demand an account. You know what's been going on with my money. You got a right to um, conduct an audit. You know if your capacities is at that level, you have a right to draft a notice of audit. You could probably even use the FOIA or writ. You can do a number of things. You can take them to court. I mean, you got access. You got access. And if this is supposed to be the most powerful government in the world, what does that make you? And in fact, we actually got to look at that. Russia unveiled some technology with respect to weaponry that nobody else has. So to kind of say, so now we got to focus on our economy, and our economy is supposed to be the most powerful economy in the world. And you can see in the Trump administration's intent, they intend on leveraging our power in the economy on a global level to help restore peace and stability when it comes to this country first. And then, we can get out and talk about how we can help others. However, it's kind of interesting because to me, it appears the more that we help ourselves, like rebuild the infrastructure, the integrity, the credibility, um, the workforce, the technology sector, the educational sector. Like this automatically helps the rest of the world because you just don't need you need an advanced society as well to have an advanced nation. So, um, you know, we if you look at the numbers, we're at the bottom when it comes to education. We're at the bottom of the list of a lot of areas that's um, just not being told, or the information is just not being provided to the American people, or should I say, we the people of the United States of America. I think that's a more palatable form of expressing, particularly this nation of people, because we know America is a continent and it hosts a lot of different nations. And so we kind of like self proclaimed ourselves as being all of America, right? And so that's cool. You got to have that level. I don't have a problem with that level of confidence. You know what they say, you got to claim it, right? If you're going to get to where you're going in your life, you got to claim it. So, but we got to have respect for other nations and respect other nations' sovereignty and the way that they do business. Um, we have a right to defend our freedoms, and in that, we have a right to recognize all people freedoms. We have obligations, should I say, to recognize all free people birthrights. But moving right along, um, where was I at before I kind of started rambling? So we talked about the little Prince UD game, and the next game is at I'm assuming it's at UPrep, but we'll post that information real soon on the 3rd of December. Um, we talked about the Biden regime, the war, the initiative. So you're seeing Biden, once he did that, then France authorized the use of their missiles against Russia and another NATO country. And, some NATO countries is like, what the heck are you people doing? You people are trying to actually go to war with Russia, and you're going to kill us all. We're going to you're going to die. like, and I think what ticked some of the people off is that he went and got the Koreans and they start fighting. Right? It's been reported that they on the ground fighting the Ukrainians, and I think they were highly upset. Like, you got an Asian army on the European continent, and like they take offense to that. Like, oh yeah, well we're gonna give them this, and then here come Russia with a lightning strike. Right? It was like like a bolt, 3 bolts of lightning came out the sky, and I'm like, what the heck? I couldn't even tell you what was going on or what was happening. I had to actually go and read the comments and the breakdown of what I was actually looking at to get a full understanding of what the heck just happened. And I'm saying, wait a minute, man. You mean to tell me dog can do that to anywhere in the world at any time, and we don't have the technological capacity to counter, to defend, to stop, right? So if he shoot at us, we don't have the weaponry or the technology to actually stop that. Well, at least it hasn't been reported in response to what Putin said. Because Putin went out on TV and said that. He said, look, man, we got it. Don't nobody else got it yet. We know y'all gonna try to. He said, we know y'all gonna try to develop it now that y'all done seen it, right? Because once he put that demonstration down, he jumped right on TV like, yeah, I told y'all, chill out, and we can hit you anywhere. We can hit all your military bases. We can hit all your naval shipyards. We can hit all the warships you got. We can hit everybody everywhere, and there's nothing that you have that can stop us, that can stop that, right? And we know you got nuclear. We know you got to set up over here and set up over there and set up over here, but we have equipment that can stop that. And so I don't believe everything I hear for sure. I start to kind of contemplate that with Elon Musk in this scenario, right? Um, you got Elon Musk in this scenario, which is the richest supposed to be. I don't believe everything I hear. The richest guy in the world. I like Elon, or I like what I see of Elon. I think he made a great decision. I think he waited to the last minute though. I think he made a great decision, but I think that partnership creates us access to upgrade our technology, our technological infrastructure throughout the entire U.S. And all over the world, like where our stuff is at. I think that increases our satellite power. I think that advances our military, and I think what they're doing to use that technology to cut down government waste, um, spending waste. They've been tripping, man. We paying 500. Just one report came out where we pay $500 billion to 1,200 programs that no longer exist. So people are receiving money. These administrators, just the bureaucratic state, these these administrators is receiving out of these 1,200 programs $500 billion, and the programs don't exist. So it's just you look at Congress and say, what the hell is Congress doing, right? You ain't gonna keep talking about the Bidens. Hey man, Congress got to approve that. How did Congress, right, which is supposed to be Democratic and Republicans, how did this get past Congress? how do all of this stuff? It's so much hyper focus on the presidency. However, by law, Congress is in charge of the purse. This is why they got oversight, congressional oversight authority over all the agencies, because they got the people's purse and they appropriate the funds, our money, right, to these different agencies, department, programs, grants, etc. All got to come through Congress. So they put all this focus on um, the presidency, and it's really the You got to study the Constitution because the presidency has an assignment. The presidency has a particular assignment. Congress and the judicial branch, the congressional branch and judicial branch, has a particular assignment. They have a particular obligation pursuant to those branches of government. And the focus of Congress is the law. Everything, we're a nation of laws. Law governs all events. And Congress has the authority constitutionally to enact the law on behalf of the people. We, the people of the United States of America, or should I say of North America, but that's irrelevant right now. So you got to look at that. Who are the people serving in Congress? That's what we got to get down to. The individuals that were elected, which makes up the House of Reps, the House of Senate, and then together you got Congress. And then that infrastructure of that institution. And you see, Mitch McConnell just came out and said his focus is to protect the independence of the institution in reference to the Senate. And I seen a comment that said, um, that ain't your job. Your job is to protect and defend the Constitution, i.e., we the people, and it's in our rights. And our rights is the law. Our rights is what the law uses or depends on. So without our rights, there is no law. The law protects your rights. And when your rights are violated and you take action, law actually has been activated, right? Other than that, there ain't no law, So Senate, the legislators, Senate has a particular obligation, and so does the House of Reps. You got to break this stuff down to its components, to its actual functions, to see exactly where the checks and balances fell off at. So now you got Congress, which is in charge of the purse and in charge of the law. They enact the law. The president's job, the presidency or the executive branch job is to enforce the law. Just really that simple. The judicial branch is to uphold the law. So you got a president that's outside, or you got a Congress that develop a legislation that was unconstitutional, or you got an executive order that was unconstitutional. The judges is in place to uphold the constitutional law. So if that legislation um, was not supported by the Constitution, and you challenge it in the court of law, the judge's job is what? To shoot it down, to order it down, because it was unconstitutional. So the people don't, we the people of the United States, we don't know exactly our authority. And this is why the checks and balances is all messed up. I used to go to, quick story, I used to go back in 2012. First of all, my mother and stepfather served combined, 40, 50 years together, right? She served 12 years on the board, 20 plus years in the game, school board. My stepfather served 36 years as a city councilman. So I say that to say this, my awareness is where it should be at on these subject matters. Um, but I've been going to the school board meetings, right, since I was a little bitty guy. And then when I had children, I had my first son when I was 19. And he had to go to school, shortly after that, Head Start. I think I took him to Frost. Got very much so violated, but that's okay. That's not the part of the story. But one thing led to another, and me, you know, growing up without my biological father, I always had that sense of family. Here's what I would do, and I kind of had to go off the platform that my mom showed me, right? So she was involved politically, so I got involved politically. It just kind of makes sense, like in this story. And so I had a son, 19, went to college. He got to go to school a little bit after that. So now I got to go and see to get him in school, learn his process, learn all this stuff. And one thing led to another. I'm going to the school board meeting. Right now, I'm involved, or trying to get involved, learning, learning. And the school board auditorium was empty. It's always empty, meaning that there's no people. The community is not there. Um, but you got elected officials there making decisions without any kind of checks and balances from the people that they serve. We, the people of the city of Pontiac, for example, and which is why you don't have the checks and balances in place, because the people have abandoned ship. The people's office is vacant, and it's all by design. You got the poor educational system that's been failing for over 40 years. You have the miseducation. You got the marketing that everything that's wrong in your life has everything to do with racism. You have the notion that in the marketing, massive marketing, even from the census.gov, they recognize these categories: black, African, white. And it's like, well, black mean pale. It refers to the Paleolithic man. How did I get black? Why does everybody else has a nationality? And then you get to me, I'm just cut off from the families of nations. And they claiming that human rights exist, but yet I'm treated like I'm a monster. I'm treated like I don't have any liberties. I don't have any rights, no freedoms. I'm treated like I'm not an American. Um, and and so we, for example, let me give you like a legal, a lawful example. Um, how is it that I was prosecuted and convicted for bearing arms, and I've never got in trouble in my life before? So that's just to go to show you, what President Trump's talk about, and all, we're going to get to that when they talk about all of this should never happen again. We can never let this happen again. Let what happen again? They're talking about the lawfare, right? That we've seen against President Trump. Um, but I laugh, I giggle because I say, well, what about the lawfare that's been executed? Not saying that what happened to Trump was okay. I'm using that, I'm leveraging that. So since everybody's watching what happened to Trump, and we can identify what that's called now, it's called lawfare. It's unconstitutional and it's illegal. Let's get this straight. Under the and that they were acting under the color of law. So, but the term is lawfare. So since Trump has made it like a brand, like made it a popular thing now, lawfare. Everybody's aware of lawfare. Well, how do an American is prosecuted and convicted of bearing arms, right? And so I'm excited about January 20th and this Trump administration because there's a number of issues that we need to address down here. The same thing that happened to you, Trump, Mr. President, it's the same thing that's been happening to us down here in the ghettos of America, if you want to call them that, right? The ghettos of America. Like, well, what's going on? They strategy. They say their strategies. Who? Uh, the judges, the prosecutors. When they talk about malicious prosecution, that's going on right now at a high level, especially in Democratic controlled communities like the city of Pontiac, Oakland County, a state of Michigan. So when we get up in here, the attorney that we hired, he's not pushing Constitution. He's all about helping the state usher you into a prison cell or on some kind of probation operation, which is owned by the judges. So these judges is making profits illegally, right? And so this young man or young lady, I'm gonna just use me for example. I get up in there, I don't have a clue about life at this point in time. I have a clue about politics and my degrees of thinking today, and I have a clue about my constitutional right. So that kind of speaks to like the people in your household too, right? It's like, wait a minute, I had to be uh 25, 26, 27 years old to actually learn about the Constitution, its protections, securities, its benefits, with respect to my American citizenship or or my national capacity. Um, the answer is yes. I had to actually be almost 30, go through some stuff, tired of going through it, end up deciding to fight for my freedom. Then I had to actually learn what freedom was, which led me to the Constitution. And it took me, I actually had a dictionary there with me too. And that studying on defending my freedoms took me back to who I am, to the beginning of the USA, our role in the beginning of the USA, and how we've been removed from that reality, that history, and put into this misclassification category as I'm supposed to be black, Negro, and colored. All of these are derogatory terms to remove my national identity, my heritage, or my inheritance, which would be the American land estates, starting in north all the way down to the south, including Mexico and the surrounding islands, um, including but not limited to northeast and southwest, northeast and the southwest Africa. So it's like, well, wait a minute, this seems like what kind of a program is this, right? So I've been led to believe, and I'm a colored person, but if I go into a courtroom, because I got to defend my freedoms, so if I go into the courtroom, every word that I say can and what will be used against you. So I have to be technical in my language. I got to be technically correct, lawfully correct, or I can't even talk in here, which is why millions of people hire lawyers, right? Because they have that technical capacity. They can speak the language of school for 40 years, right? Man, that's an exaggerated number. But they put their work in it to be able to interpret on your behalf and interpret the law to you allegedly into a form that you can understand or overstand or understand. But the truth of the matter is, so knowing that I had to uh, educate myself, I couldn't just walk in there and talk about my beliefs. I couldn't walk in there and talk about how I feel. Right? I'm not a beggar. I'm not coming in asking for mercy. I don't plead. I pray to God, Allah. Um, so I grew up in the courtrooms. I grew up over a 3, 4 year period battling, learning. Uh, and come to find out, man, that we've been robbed in every kind of way, shape, and form by our own people. And it keeps saying the white man, or the white people, or racism, or this and that, and this and that. And this has become their platform. I watched Kermit Williams, former council member. I watched him rake in a lot of money from the hospital, from the little hospital group. And he was running around here um, doing all this stuff with this little hospital group. And then I seen him start marketing. He put out a state of emergency from the council, if I'm not mistaken, talking about racism in medicine. And all it was a ploy. So when the pandemic rolled down, we can get those vaccines into Pontiac on the first day. And come to find out, the vaccines, by reported by China, is a bioweapon that was designed to murder people. This is what's been reported by China, and not just China. Hundreds and hundreds of medical professionals all over the world. This is why you don't hear Trump talking about it anymore. You don't hear him promoting and warp speed. Like, he was tricked, and now they're going to go after Fauci because they got to have retribution. They got to be some accountability. Uh, They were exposed. This regime currently in office, his son, the Biden son, was exposed in his dealings in Ukraine. The biolabs was exposed. It was funded by taxpayers' dollars. The NIH, who got caught lying. You're like, brother, where you get this information from? Congressional hearings. Congressional hearings, congressional testimonies. It's on the floor. And so, of course, they can't prosecute anybody because they don't have control over the DOJ. But all that's changed as of November the 5th. All that's getting ready, it's already changed, right? So people got to be held. Listen, my people took the vaccine. Your people took the vaccine on misinformation. They actually fell out with us, divided themselves from us, refused to deal with us, right? Oh, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So you mean to tell me the earth, Mother Earth, has been here millions of years. She ain't let us down yet. All of the holy book speaks to this. And then these these people say these are the oppressors, the white man. So they turn around. That's what they tell us. That's what they teach us. Not tell us, teach us. They teaching us, program us to say the white man did it. The white man did it. The white man did it. And then, because think about the movies that Leonardo DiCaprio played in, Django with Jamie Foxx in. Think about their political positions, right? So in all these movies they put out, I went to college, they showed us these same movies. In college, in history class, so-called history class. And it kept showing us in chains being beat by the so-called white man and all of this. That was for later on effects. So now when they jump up in politics, they're racist. They're like, we're supposed to buy into that. Thank God for consciousness. Thank God for common sense. Thank God for experience. Thank God for allowing me to get up, get out, see something being exposed, networks, and being able to deal with the peoples of the earth. Thank God for that. Because if that didn't happen, I would be cast in the same box as all these other millions of people that actually believe that stuff. Where was I at before I started rambling? Um, so this is where I was at. And so they turned around and lined up and took the vaccine. I said, wait a minute. So these are the same people that told me that these are the oppressors. The herbs is for the healing. And the moment they get scared, they go completely opposite. That's why you heard how I started off, man. No matter what you're going through, you can't lose faith. You got to stay connected to the divine source. That's how we failed the first time, what we call the creation and fall of man. Man failed because he debased himself to gratify his lower self. He was conquered by his cardinal self, the bodies of desires, his loose passions. He forgot how to take the compass and draw a circle around his passions to keep them in bounds of moderation. So that's how the fall of man happened, right? They got and this is the fall of this is how the second fall of man happened. You got the media with an agenda. Okay, we're seeing how bad the media did us. I mean, think about it. We all knew that the media was fake, but we never heard the president, a person yielding presidential authority, get on national television and say, this is all fake news here. They're lying. And it was amazing how people actually thought Trump was lying. And I'm like, well, how does the president of the United States, which is the number one intelligence officer in the world, like the intelligence community is for the president's benefit? So he can make timely decisions, he can know anyways. So I just couldn't believe that people actually thought Trump was lying. Like this guy's the former president. This guy's sitting in office with all the intelligence. And he's sitting here telling us what you've never seen a president do. The presidents be keeping secrets. They all kept secrets from the American people that we just found out now today. Like Bush knew it wasn't no weapons of mass destruction in there. Clinton knew what he was doing down in where he was bombing. Obama knew what he was doing when all that crap. The Clintons knew what they was doing. But did they tell us? No, it took for Trump to say, hey, man, these people are crooked. It took for hackers to hack their cell phones, to hack their databases, to expose corruption, governmental corruption, political corruption. It took for the agents of freedom to say, wait a minute, let's get up in there and see what's going on. And whoa, and we kind of find out how just how much Hillary Clinton loved this country because she don't. We found out how much Obama loved the country, and he don't. It's all about power and money, power and money, power and money. And in between that, you got destruction and death. And that's the pattern. So we go look at the pattern of behavior, which always tells you a certain truth. Look at the pattern of their policies. What is the result? What has been the result of their policies? And so we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Let me see here what we got. We got Mexico's leftist president intends to. I like how they say leftist, right? So they want to make sure that we understand what we're dealing with. Where is her political? Uh, where is she at politically when it comes to this whole thing? Oh, hold on. Oh, man, come on. All right, give me just a second. Let me. How did that just happen? So let me see. Okay, okay, I guess. Jesus Christ, there's always got to be some kind of technical difficulties. All right, so let me try to wing this thing the best I can. Uh, oh, wow. Okay. It looked like we got some tech difficulties, so if we blank out, we'll just come right back on. We're not going to stress it. Not going to stress about it. Okay, so where are we? Wow, and obviously we're going to talk about Kamala Harris, her little speech she gave the other day ago. So we're on my page, obviously, and it was a couple things. It was a very important thing that we want to talk about. I know the Mexican president. Now she was newly elected too, um, and a lot of this stuff is just like gaslighting. So of course she got to come out. She just got elected, so of course she's a female too. So you know they got this thing where people got this notion that because you're a female, you gotta be extra hard, you gotta be extra tough, extra this, extra that. I don't subscribe to that. I'm gonna treat my sister leaders just as well on the same accord as I would treat the brother leaders. And everybody's going to be held accountable the same because the law doesn't see male or female. The law sees the law. And if you violate the law, you shall be held accountable, whether you male or female. So should no female leader be treated different than a male leader, meaning like less than, okay, because she or he is subject to the same law. Let's make that clear. Um, but I have a more important. I don't know what this guy talking about here. Oh no, my baby right here say y'all try to go a war against God. Oh, he's serious. He running for president in Romania. The Romanian presidential frontrunner condemns globalist assault on Christianity, declaring no one can defeat God. I like that. I like that. They're not playing about that attack on the Almighty. And so, what I want to do is go into this. Jesus Christ. What did I do with that? I know what I did with it. I know what I did with it. I know where it's at. Let me see. Can I get back there? That's the craziest thing. All of a sudden, we was going. I guess it is what it is. But let me see here. Let's get this going. Here's what I want to come to. This is so important. I really wanted to start off with this, but come on, computer, taking me off now. Nope, I want to talk about that one. I want to talk about. Nope, I want to talk about that one. Boom. Okay, so I think it's this one.
Shows an unaccompanied migrant child as young as 2 years old.
So I gotta warn you before I press play. It broke my heart actually. I don't know if it's gonna do the same for you, but I just gotta challenge everybody in our country. No matter where you stand, left, right, middle, extremists, not extremists. These are children, bro. And if you don't love children, I don't love you. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are babies. And because of this policy, this open border policy, everybody can come to the country. Look at what is happening. Somebody sent this little 2-year-old. Now, I got a 1-year-old daughter. I got a 5-year-old son, 16, 21, and I got a 3-year-old, about to be 3-year-old granddaughter. So I for the life of me, I'm saying to myself, dog, somebody sent a little bitty baby to make it across the border. Hey man, what the heck is going on? And not only that, there's 350,000 children that we cannot find that came across that border. It was given to some supposed to be sponsor. When I say this is the biggest human trafficking outfit in the world, including money laundering, shame on us. Shame on the Biden-Harris regime, and shame on those who support this kind of conduct. This is pure evil.
Traveling into the U.S. alone with just a piece of paper.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela. ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿2 años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están? Estados Unidos.
Wow. Tom Homan joins us now. Hey, Tom, that's a story new to most of America, but not.
Man, they probably hate technology because it's one thing to hear about it or to never hear about it. There's another thing to not only hear about it, but and see it at the same time. Now, come on, y'all. Now, we're going to still do this thing that it's about a black woman. We don't like black women. We don't like all this other stuff they tried to come up with. No, what about this little girl? We love the little girl. We love to protect the little girl, have a little girl. I'm supposed to support some sister who doesn't support humanity in their actions. It's 300 plus children, 300,000 plus children are missing. So how are you going to convince me that I should be voting for somebody, or you should even be voting for somebody that's allowing that's actually financing human trafficking?
New to you, is it?
No, I've been talking about this for 4 years, about the inhumanity of that border, about how many children die, whether in the desert or in the river. Since Joe Biden's been president, we got nearly 4,000 aliens that have died across this border. Children die almost every day. Children get sexually assaulted. 31% of women that make that journey get sexually assaulted. And this administration has been hiding it. This is something we're going to address. We're going to show the American people exactly what we're doing on the border and why we need to do it. And this is one clear example why we need to secure that border.
So, Tom, there's other 2-year-olds being held right now. And because in a rush to get them out, they're giving them to strangers who show up and say, I'm the sponsor, I'm the relative. How do you stop that? I mean, what do you do with the children? How do you stop the income and the incoming kids?
Well, first of all, shame on the Biden administration and Becerra, who's the secretary.
So talk to me, man. I talk back. You know, we're here together. I'm not talking at you. I'm not talking down. I'm here to lift you up. We're brothers and sisters. We're family, right? That's what we got to get back to. America, we the people of the United States, we're family. We're family. We brought you in as family.